my gosh. I'm so embarrassed. I had my computer muted.
Oh, really?
I'm so sorry. That's never happened. I'm so embarrassed.
It's okay. It's all right.
No, oh my gosh. I was like, normally when it's an issue, it's like a connectivity issue. I just put you through hell and back for no reason. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
But you know what? That makes
Well,
me
I won't use AirPods for this.
I forgot that I muted it because I wanted to get rid of some like video that wouldn't stop playing. So I muted it. And then I forgot to unmute it to talk to you. So wow. Well, that's a great start to the interview. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Keeping as busy as I can be during, the pandemic. It's been a lot of ups and downs. So how have you been holding up?
I've been all right. Yeah. Staying busy, trying to stay safe, even when I travel.
Yes, definitely. And you're based in New York City, right?
Right now, yeah.
What's your favorite part about living there besides the fact that it's pretty much shut down at the moment?
I think it's the ability to speak all different languages throughout the day. Like I'll go and speak Polish at a meat market and then order some baguette in French and then get a coffee in Korean, all within like 2 hours. It's super nice to be able to do that without even having to take the subway.
That is awesome. And yeah, you've actually studied tons of languages and you're fluent in a bunch. So tell us how you first, decided you wanted to do that and traveled to 11 countries, like in a very short span of time. I give you mad props.
Thank you. Well, the first time I learned a language was Swedish. I was in middle school, and a lot of people hear that and they're like, "Oh, you must be Swedish," because why else would any like a random American middle schooler learn a language as obscure as that? I have social anxiety, and so back then I didn't know how to deal with that, and so I thought, what's a nice way I can get people to not talk to me? So I was like, I know, I'll just pretend I don't speak English. So I learned the most obscure language I could think of, Swedish. So when somebody came up to me on the street and like asked me something or like asked me to give them money, whatever, I'll just be like I forgot all the Swedish since then, but yeah, that was the first experience learning languages. But from then, I took French in high school because my sister said it was easy. And I think it was all right. I took it for 2 years, and during high school, I also that's when I started picking up other languages like Polish, Finnish, and Korean. So my high school was right near Koreatown in Atlanta.
Okay.
So a lot of the students in my school were Korean. A lot of the cafes and places that I went to were Korean style cafes. And so I just kind of drew this connection. Like, if I love learning languages, then why not learn one that's useful as this one that I can use in my daily life, just going around the city.
Yeah.
So I started learning it from other Korean students in my classes. And then from there, once I started traveling, which was, I think, my 18th birthday, my senior year, that's when I started going to other countries like in Europe, and I started going to Korea by myself.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
when I got into those languages.
That's brilliant and so cool that you had a reason to learn it, because I feel like half the battle is not of people being hesitant to learn a language is you don't really see the use in it. So the fact that you're like, well, I'm so close to Koreatown, this is useful and practical, rather than learning a language that has no like application to your real
Right.
life. So I love that. I think it's very useful for you, and that's actually even helped you within your music career. Do you want to talk a little bit about your album coming out next year and how it's going to feature other languages besides English?
Yeah, so I'm planning to do the album about half Korean, half English. I've kind of messed around with Finnish in my music, and then I've also put a little like ad lib in French here and there. But the one language that I think I'm best at and that suits my style the most is Korean. So with Popstar, I tried it out. This was like the first time using Korean or any other language as a main lyric.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in a track, and that turned out way better than I thought it would. People had a really nice reception to it, not just in Korea, but in America and Southeast Asia, a bunch of different countries. I was really surprised by that, but I thought, well, if people can still connect to it, and I feel more comfortable writing in Korean, then what's the problem with continuing to do so?
Exactly.
So yeah, the next album is going to be half English, half Korean. The last single I did was all in English, the one
Mm-hmm.
called Blood. The next one is going to be like mostly Korean. I think like the chorus might be in English, but the verses and stuff Korean. And then I'm going to move forward doing some tracks mostly English, some tracks mostly Korean for the entirety of the album.
That's so exciting. And I have to ask, I'm sure you've been asked this or thought about it, for people like me who don't speak Korean, how would you encourage us, and then how would you encourage maybe people who don't speak English to still get the entirety of the album? Are you going to do like translations, or should I go learn Korean right now?
A lot of people, I mean, there have been some issues in terms of promoting the song.
Mm,
Like when I'll go to submit it to a blog or something, they'll say, we can't feature your music because we love the beat and we love the English parts, but we just couldn't understand the Korean, so we couldn't connect with it in like a heartfelt way. I can't argue with that. That's understandable. Um, my, I think the reason why Korean music, or at least music that's in the Korean language these days, is a lot easier to listen to is because now it's such a big part of the media with BTS.
huge.
Yeah, it's become much more widely acceptable to listen to music that's not in your native language because you can always get a translation on Google, and
Yeah,
music isn't always about lyrics, you know? Uh,
exactly.
so, I mean, what was that one song? Despacito? I'm pretty sure that was Spanish, right? Like
It
everybody
is.
loved that song anyways.
That's true.
I don't speak Spanish, but it's a fun song to dance to. So
It really is, and K-pop, like
yeah.
you said, is huge right now, So, and I'm sure, I mean, a lot of BTS fans, including myself, I don't know what they're saying, so I can't translate it and necessarily connect to it on a like emotional level, but
Mhm.
it's great to dance to.
Yeah,
So, and they
exactly.
do the same thing. They have also released Dynamite, which of course is in English. So, yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. And learning Korean and these other languages, do you feel like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this without like making it super like confusing. I have a tendency to over explain myself. So listen to
Okay.
like the first half of what I'm gonna say. The rest you probably don't need. Um, but do you think that it's harder to be more vulnerable in English or Korean or Finnish if you were to write in Finnish? Like which language do you have the hardest time like opening up with lyrics? Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Oh my gosh, a miracle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry. I actually kind of hope people ask this question because I've not a lot of people ask the like if I'm comfortable. They just ask like, "Well, why'd you pick that language?" They don't ask like they ask like, "Why would you put that language in your music for people to hear?" They wouldn't ask like, "What makes you feel like you need to put this language in your music?" So I like this question.
Oh, thank you.
Um, so I did an interview a couple days ago with a podcast, and they asked me pretty similar thing, and I basically told them in English. Is English your first language?
Yes, and I used to be fluent in Spanish. I forgot it all. One of the biggest regrets of my life. That's neither here nor there, though.
It happens.
I know.
Um, so with English, when we say certain words, like let's say a dog is cute, we we hear the word cute, and of course we associate it with like things we see that are cute, but also we feel that word
Mhm.
because the word cute itself is cute.
Exactly. I just started smiling just thinking of my dog.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have not just a thought, but a feeling, an emotion that tethers to this word. So when you speak a different language, or at least when you're starting to learn this language, you don't necessarily have that yet, or at least
Mhm.
it's not ingrained in the society around you. So let's say I want to say one of my friends looks very pretty today in English. There might be a bit more hesitation there, like, oh, like what if like maybe I'll be embarrassed, but like if I do that in Korean, I don't really have that tick that gives me the embarrassment or that feeling associated. It's simply the thought. And so it translates much easier. So it's easier for me to compliment people. It's easier for me to have conversations and be completely honest. So as weird as it sounds, English is actually one of the most difficult languages for me to be honest in,
That
even though it's
is,
my own native language.
my mind is like blown how you just explained that. I never thought of it like that. That's crazy. It's like you said, there's more of a comfort in speaking in a way that you don't necessarily associate with that language as strongly. I
Yeah,
remember when I thought a guy was cute, I would say it in Spanish because like it didn't feel as vulnerable. So
yeah, yeah.
you just blew my mind. That's insane. So that's interesting though, because Blood is a very vulnerable song about betrayal, and unfortunately I connected to it, not in like a, I'm saying I'm like dissing your song, but unfortunately I've also gone through the same thing, is what I mean.
Right.
So was that hard? Did you ever consider writing that in a different language?
Yeah, it was originally written. The first verse was originally written in Korean, actually.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I noticed one issue with Popstar is that people tend to get confused when I switch between both languages in the middle of a song. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why with the album moving forward, what I want to do is do some songs that are like 90% English and then 90% Korean. So that way, maybe if they can't connect to English, or if they can't connect to Korean, they can still hold on to these songs where their main language is being used, so it's more easily and fluidly understood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that it's a big step for you to be able to recognize that and have that self-discovery moment, like, hey, I could keep this all in Korean, I'm not going to connect to it as much, but it's also a hard thing to connect to and to accept. So again, huge applause to you. And I think a lot of people, including myself, have connected with this song. Have you gotten any maybe sweet DMs or anything just from someone being like, thank you for writing this, I've gone through the same thing, or anything like that?
Yeah, I have. It's always nice to get those messages. It's a bit early because the song only came out like a week ago, I think.
That's true.
Uh, but with any song, if anyone can send me like a positive message, um, especially when it's at a live show, when people come up to me and they say, "Hey, this song of yours, this lyric that you wrote, whatever, helped me in this way," that's like the most fulfilling thing, to know that the work I created to help console myself, because Blood was written about personal experience, right? Like
Mhm.
most songs are. To hear that somebody else got value from that, and that me opening up to people that I don't even know has helped them. It's such a powerful thing. Um, so yeah, definitely. It hasn't happened a lot yet, like I said, because the song came out like only a few days ago.
Mhm.
Uh, but for any song, it's a privilege, yeah, to get
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's already getting great reception. It's only been out, I think it came out December 3rd, right? So exactly a
Mhm.
week. Yeah, so exactly a week. It's already doing great. And you've also worked with some huge artists, you're on Spotify, all that fun stuff. And you have a gold record. I'm not too sure what that means, but I saw it and I'm like, what does this mean? It's has the word golden record in it, so it has to be something big.
It
So do
sounds
you want to,
fancy, right?
yeah, do you want to brag about that for a little bit?
So there's this association called the RIAA, and basically what they do is they create these sort of awards, I guess you could say, for people who have created a song or album or other musical project that has reached a certain amount of numeric success. So let's say I don't remember exactly the numbers that you need to get a gold record or higher, because there's stages. There's gold record, there's platinum record. You can get like double or triple platinum. I think there might be a diamond record. I'm not sure. Um, but basically, these are all like tiers of how successful your song can be. So like the lowest one, I say low, but really like it's a huge success to get one of these, is the
Oh,
gold record. Um, and that one I think was like 150 million streams,
I
something
think
like that.
that's the number I remember seeing, or like 160. I
Yeah,
remember it was something in the millions.
yeah, something like that. Something crazy, big number. So it's a difficult feat to do that. Um, but yeah, it was an odd moment for me to. Uh, I didn't physically have the record shipped to me. I had it shipped to my parents' house because, as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of stuff. Uh,
Yes.
so I gave it to my parents, and they sent me a picture of them holding the record, and I was like, "That's my name on a gold record. Like, that's crazy." But I'll be in Atlanta in a couple weeks for Christmas, and so I'll get to see the record myself. So I'm
Oh,
looking forward to that.
you haven't seen it in person yet at all.
No.
Oh, that's so exciting. You'll have to definitely post about that. And yeah, you're a minimalist and you you gave up a lot when you started traveling and, you know, a lot of material possessions. And
Yeah,
I'm wondering if you think either consciously or subconsciously that influenced your experiences as an artist.
definitely. I realized one of the best ways for me to get comfortable in a writing session is silence. So for Blood, I rented out this Airbnb for like 4 or 5 days up in the mountains. And I just went up there. I turned off my phone for like the entire trip, except to like call a cab to go home. Uh, but I was just very quiet. Like the entire first day there, all I did was just sit outside, like in the woods, and just not do anything. Like I read a little bit of a book. I had sat by a campfire. I didn't do any work the first day. And then the second day I was like, okay, now that my mind has slowed down, that now that it's not in the race of like Instagram, TikTok, and like all the noise of New York City, uh, now I can process my own thoughts, like the original thoughts. And so that's when that's when lyrics started to flow. That's when I got ideas for melodies. And it's just a lot more comfortable when you don't have any distractions to take away from the value.
Yeah, that's amazing. Again, mad props to you. It's so funny because like when I was young, I didn't have a phone, I didn't have TikTok. I didn't even like computer games or TV. And now I feel like we almost have to. Like
Yeah.
especially in this industry, music industry is 24/7. You don't necessarily have the choice that much to have your phone off for 5 days because what if it's always this what if I miss a call from my publicist that's like for this huge opportunity and then the spot gets filled, or what if I miss this, you know, whatever, this virtual show opportunity. So it is hard, I can imagine, to take that step back. So I'm glad you're able to. Were you getting a little anxious at all, or were you really content with just letting it be happen?
I had never felt less anxious. Yeah, because the anxiety comes from uh, having to be on Instagram and TikTok. I tell people all the time, if I wasn't a musician, or like, I hate using the word influencer, but that's what we'll use. If I didn't have that job, then I would not have social media. Like, no question in my mind, I would not have TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of that. But it allows me to connect to fans, and it lets them hear new things about me, and I get to share my life with them and become closer with the people whose lives have been affected by the art that I make. So it's important in that sense. It's just a matter of like you can connect with your audience for 30 minutes a day, but let's be honest, nobody is spending 30 minutes a day on Instagram. It's always like 4 hours, right? So yeah, that time is the time that I realize I need to cut out. So if I really need to use Instagram for business and not personal reasons, then why am I spending 4 hours scrolling through the explore page, whatever? Because that's not a business purpose, right? Like
No.
that's not connecting with your fans. That's looking at food videos. Um, yeah, so the anxiety comes from that speed. But once you get off the technology, specifically social media, but once you get off the technology and once you get away from like the online society and people around you, that's when you go to your own pace and you discover how you move on your own.
Yeah, and it's great that you found that balance too. And it is important nowadays to have social media for promotion and to connect. And I like what you said. I feel like social media's intended use was to do that. The
Mm,
human race is the you know, the people who have taken that and not and manipulated it almost. And I'm guilty of it. Everyone else is, but I love that you recognize that, you know, social media has intended uses. For me as an artist, if I can cut out some of the other time where I'm not using it for the right purpose for me, then, you know, that's a win. So
yeah,
bravo. It's really hard. I could learn a thing or two from you. So
I mean, I'm not perfect. Like I still struggle with it. The last couple of days, I've been falling back into the hole that is the For You page of TikTok. Uh, I'm trying to climb back out of that, but it happens to everyone. Everyone has this issue, whether they realize it or not.
exactly. Yeah. Have you seen Social Dilemma?
3 times.
Okay, my brother keeps convincing me to watch it, but it's only because he knows he's right, because I am like their perfect audience, so to speak.
Mhm.
So I'm like scared to watch it. Like I'm gonna get
Oh,
exposed.
if you're scared to watch it, that's why you need to watch it.
Okay.
I'm telling my mom the same thing. She's terrified because I keep texting her. I've texted her at least 5 times about this documentary. If she hasn't watched it, by the time I get to Atlanta, I'm making her watch it because it's so important for anyone, any age, any group to see this documentary and see like social media has like nobody intended to make a bad platform that can hurt people. It was
Exactly.
always intended to be like an extension of society and like to help people connect with friends and people they might never meet on the other side of the world. It was never intended to have the negative effects that it has today, but it still happens. So
Yep.
that's the problem that it's kind of addressing in the movie.
Okay. Well, I didn't know it was that. I thought it was more so like, and maybe this is just because this is what my brother says about me. I thought it was more like criticizing people like me who are addicted. But then
No.
what I did hear is that it's also the people who created social media and the algorithms are also taking responsibility. It seems like this is
Yeah.
not what we meant to have happen. So,
Yeah, definitely. They make a point of saying like it wasn't anybody's fault that this happened. Like you don't want to blame like say I get addicted to Instagram, you can't blame me because it was created to addict people.
okay.
But it also doesn't fall on the people well, kind of at Instagram because they were just trying to make a platform that helps like social aspects. Like nobody at Instagram is like I want to hurt people. Like that's
Exactly.
not the CEO or whoever's in charge. Like that's not their idea, right?
Hmm.
So it's really pointing out the problems that have been created from the good intentions of the social media and the internet and how we make money through the internet and to how it's
Okay.
turned into this industry that just like benefits off of the horrible parts of social media, like the negative effects.
Okay, now I'm hooked. The way you explained it compared to my brother and mom, like you have me sold. It's all about presentation, I guess, and good pitching.
Yeah.
So good job. I'm gonna watch it before the end of the year. So,
I
and
think the best way I could put it is they're not going to shame you out of using social media. They're going to convince you not to use it.
okay, I
Yeah.
like that's good because if it was like a shame thing, like I'd be like, no, like I know I have a
Yeah.
lot.
No.
So
If you want to convince people to make their lives better, why would you like face them with negativity? You
that's
know?
true.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me hooked. So I'm excited now, and
Yeah.
I hope your parents will watch it too. We'll see who watches it first. Well, thank you so much for this interview and for that little side chat. I really like
Yeah,
all your
absolutely.
insight, not only into your music, different languages, but also into the social media landscape. Speaking of social media, I hate to do this. Do you want to give yours so that people can keep in touch with you?
Yeah, there's no obligation if you don't want to follow, because I don't follow anyone on social media. I follow nobody on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, none of that.
Oh my God.
I did that like about a month ago. One of the greatest decisions I've ever made. But if you would like to follow my social media content, my Instagram and TikTok are both at Hey I'm Peachy, and then my Twitter is a bit more complex. It's Persikainen. It's just Peachy in Finnish. Uh,
Oh, how clever.
yeah.
Okay, got it. Well, I think I'm following you on Instagram. I'll make sure to follow you on Twitter as well. And then do you just want to recap where everyone can currently listen to your music as well as when your album's coming out?
Yeah, so Blood came out on December 3rd. It's my new single. It's out everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube, whatever you use, it's there. And you can listen to that today. The album will be out. There's not a set date, but we're planning on spring 2021.
Oh, that's soon. So that could be as early as March. Is that when spring starts? I don't even know.
March, April, May, something there.
Okay, cool. Well, definitely we'll have to check back in March, if not before. And I'll make sure to, keep following you on Instagram and I'll check out your Twitter. And yeah, everyone make sure to go stream Blood and be on the lookout for the next projects.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was so great talking to you. And sorry again for the audio mishap, but it makes for a great story. So I'm not too upset.
Yeah, no worries. It didn't take that long, so you're good.
Okay, cool. Well, have a great rest of your day and hope to meet you in person. We'll do a follow-up interview.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Of course.